Hello, and welcome to our podcast series, Conversations with KidsPeace. I'm Bob Martin. Well, it's that time of year again, back to school. It's truly one of the experiences that you can honestly say is shared across generations, across geography. But also shared are some of the fears and concerns that children may have as they prepare to go into a new classroom, meet new classmates, maybe even go to a whole new school. As the school year started, we invited onto the podcast Stephanie Earle, senior clinician for KidsPeace's school-based mental health clinics program in the Allentown, Pennsylvania school district, to get some perspectives on those concerns and some tips for parents on how they can help their kids navigate this shared life experience of going back to school. Here's our conversation. Stephanie Earle, welcome to the podcast. Great to have you with us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, let's begin by asking you to talk a little bit about your background. What prompted you to get into the field, how long you've been with KidsPeace, and then if you can kind of explain what the program is that you're working on.
Yeah, so I was always really interested in just mental health, behaviors, the brain, kind of the way they're all interconnected, but never really considered that as a field for myself. It really wasn't until I was in high school I had lost a close friend to suicide, and kind of through that grieving process, really started to understand the importance of mental health services. And the more I learned, the more interested I became. And then really started to see the importance and decided to become a therapist myself.
Now, talk a little bit about the school-based program. How does that work?
Yeah, so we resemble all the other outpatient clinics, so like Green Street and Broadway. The only real difference is we are embedded within the schools in the Allentown School District. So we're in 5 different schools, 1 high school, 2 middle schools, and 2 elementary schools. Instead of the parents bringing the kids to us, we are going into the classrooms and we are pulling the kids out.
Now, what kind of issues are the kids presenting in that environment?
So for our littles, we're seeing a lot of behavioral concerns. So things like, they're having a hard time sitting still, hard time focusing, a lot of anger, aggression, really big feelings that they just don't know how to verbalize. And then our middle schoolers are a lot more anxiety, depression, maybe more relational issues, identity issues, things like that.
As they're beginning their process to, forming relationships, forming friendships that are
a little more independent, things like that.
Right. Do you find that they appreciate the idea that they're able to talk to someone within the school environment?
Yeah, the kids absolutely love it. I feel like it's a little bit more normalized. They really appreciate it. They like coming down. We sometimes are actually almost like pushing them out. We're like, no, you need to go back to class now. Like, you have to go do math. But it's been really cool. It's really normalized the idea of therapy. It's not like this thing you're going to, but it's almost on the same level of speech therapy and occupational therapy. It's just another service we're offering.
That's it's a great advancement we've had, because obviously over the years there's been a stigma attached to it, and we're always of the opinion that one of the very few silver linings of the pandemic was kind of the dissolution of the stigma. Like, people are much more willing to talk about their feelings, willing to talk about their mental wellness. And obviously a great thing. And the fact we're getting it in the schools, I think, is also great. Well, it is back to school time.
Yes.
And, I'm wondering, as someone who works with kids in that environment, is it normal for kids to have anxiety or other kinds of mental concerns as they begin this new, phase of their lives? We always forget, by the way, not to interrupt my own question, but we always forget that, when you talk about a kid who's going, like, say, into 4th grade, you're talking about, 15% of their entire life is going to be this next year. Those of us who are beyond that, shall we say, look how fast the year's going, but it's such a big part of their lives. So what are they feeling? Is it anxiety? Is it like concern for what's gone? What's gone?
100%. Yeah, I feel like in the last couple of weeks, as I've asked all my kiddos, like, how are you feeling? I've gotten every response. Just, I'm worried. I don't want to go back. Some of them just say no, as if that is a feeling itself. There's a lot for them to be worried about. Like you said, this is a huge change in their little worlds. They have a lot to be concerned about. If they have friends in their classroom, how their teacher's going to interact with them, what the work's going to be like. Something I've seen with a lot of my kiddos that I work with, if they had a really hard interaction last year, whether it was because of their behaviors, the work was hard because they missed so much because of their behaviors, they're really scared it's going to happen again. And they know that they had so many barriers, and they think, well, third grade was awful. Fourth grade's going to be the same. Yeah. And they just are kind of setting it up for that.
Oh, my goodness. Now, you talk about behavior. What kind of behaviors are we talking about that would have interfered with their schooling?
Some of the kids, they just get so frustrated and they just don't know how to cope with it that we kind of just give up. And, I don't know how to do the math. I get really frustrated. I give up. I walk out. Or, I'm fighting with a peer and I'm the one getting removed. And it really builds up for them.
We forget that a lot of that is cumulative.
Yeah.
That it, you look and say, well, there's this small situation, but then this one and this one and this one, all of a sudden it's a big one. So you mentioned that you have your kids, many of them are anxious. For a child that is anxious about starting a new school year, what are some things that parents can do to help address these concerns?
I think one of the best things parents can start doing is just having that conversation with their kiddos about school in general. Just letting them really start to talk about what their fears are, really putting it out on the table. Letting them, I think a lot of our kids think they are the only one with that fear. And that is really scary for them to think that I'm the only one in this classroom that feels this way. So really normalizing it, validating it. Parents can also start to talk about their own experiences in school and let them, talk about times that they felt anxious, how they really overcame that, and really relate to their child on that level and let them know, you're not the only one who's gone through this. We've all gone through school. We've all had these really hard experiences, and kind of let them see, we were all in this together. I was able to do it. Other people were able to do it. Here's some ways that you can do it too.
I'm wondering too, we talked there about kids who are evidencing anxiety, evidencing, concern and everything. But as you noted, kids don't always externalize that.
Yeah.
So I think all parents want to be able to do what they can to prepare their kids. Obviously, they're outfitting them with equipment. They're, making sure we know the logistics, et cetera, et cetera. But are there things that parents can do, even if the child doesn't appear to be overtly or anxious to the point of being having a problem to be adjusting? Are there things that they can do for every kid? I guess I'm saying.
I think it's always a great idea just to give your kid, some standard coping skills, because we know something's going to go wrong throughout the school year. Fourth grade, any grade is always hard. There's always going to be some type of challenge. So giving them, some type of skill that they can use when they're starting to feel stressed, starting to feel anxious, when they do hard on a test, when something goes wrong with a friend, and really being proactive about that before the first day can really set them up for success. So whether that be sitting down with your child at the kitchen table, a week before and really being collaborative about it, making it, a family assignment. And, we're going to pick 3 different skills that you like to do: deep breathing, grounding, using fidgets. We're going to pick a couple safe adults in the school that you can go to. And we're really going to make a safety plan together of things that you can do at school when you're starting to feel overwhelmed. So when they do have those feelings, they know where to go. They know what to do.
It sounds like one of the things we need to remember is that it is a huge change for that child. It may not seem that way for the adult for whom it's in the midst of antiquity that we had that problem, but it's really, really a major change. And that sometimes I loved what you said there about making sure your child knows you're not the only person who feels this way or whoever has felt this way. So you don't need to feel like, well, I'm sort of the odd person out and I can't address it with anybody. It sounds like, as with so many things in our field, addressing it with people who are invested in your well-being makes a lot of sense. And I think that's probably what you see when the kids come to see you, isn't it? That they're appreciative of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
Well, Stephanie, we ask each of our guests to conclude our conversations with a life hack. This can be favorite saying, words of wisdom that you always go back to. Maybe it's just a tip of doing something in life a little bit better. So what's your life hack for us today?
So I have a saying that I very often go back to, and it's do small things with great love. It's one that I love as a person, one that I love as a therapist. I actually had it outside of my office this past school year. And I think it's a great one as we're kind of going back into the back to school season with just all the hecticness, with all the really, really big things going on. I think it's very easy to get lost in all those really, really big moments and to kind of forget about the importance of those really small interactions we're having with people, especially with the kids, because we really overlook the small things that we're doing with them. But it's really those small interactions that are so important just in general, but especially to them. Those are the ones that they remember so much more than we really even think. Yeah, so I think just approaching each small moment with so much more intention, that would be my life hack.
That's a great one. Thank you. We certainly want to wish all the kids out there a great school year. Have a lot of fun. Embrace the embrace the change. But there are people that can help you, so don't feel like you have to suffer alone. Stephanie Earle is senior clinician of KidsPeace's school-based mental health clinic program in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for joining us as well. We look forward to having you join us again for more conversations with KidsPeace. Till then, take care.